We're back for another exciting episode of The Spicy Life. I am your relationship expert, magnetic matchmaker, Spicy Mari. And joining me on the Spicy Life podcast today in the G spot, that's guest spotlight, don't be scared. We have the amazing, the wonderful Angelique Wilcox. The crowd goes wild. Okay, let me give you a little background on Angelique. Angelique is a full-time lover girl and a law student who somehow balances court cases with situationships. When she's not hitting the books, she's working with kids in the public defender's office, basically fighting the system and her feelings at the same time. She's smart, funny, and probably texting back late. She's out here doing both community service and the community. Okay, Angelique.
Love.
Everybody's going to recognize you from our hit TV show on Netflix, Sneaky Links. I am so grateful to have you joining me today. They've seen us together on the show, but now getting, it's a year later since that project was created. And so I wanted to have you come in because each episode of The Spicy Life has an educational element to it. I think people could learn a lot from Sneaky Links and from your experience on the show and how it relates to modern dating.
Definitely.
And so today's episode is how do we increase our self-esteem? You are going to start though, because I got to warm you up.
Great.
Okay. My spice breaker.
Ooh.
When did you first fall in love with yourself? What was that moment?
Ooh.
Go back to the time when maybe you didn't realize how amazing you were. Maybe you had low self-esteem and something woke you up. You were like, this is enough, crash, and then we get back up. What was the moment that you fell in love with yourself?
I feel like this is a tough question because I feel like it comes in waves. Like
Okay.
there'll be self-love and then you get really down and then you come back up. So I think the first time I fell in love with myself was when I fell in love with my ex-boyfriend for the first time, because he would just give me flowers every single day. And I remember I stopped wearing makeup, I stopped doing my hair, and I was just like, wow, I am beautiful. I am all these great things. And it took someone else loving me for me to realize that with myself. And then once we broke up was when I realized it even more of how strong of a person I am post breakup. So yeah, it was my my ex showing me first before I realized it for myself.
Wow. So it was somebody else kind of bringing out your greatness or reminding you of how lovable you are.
Yeah, I think I had built up so many layers before of walls, and I needed to meet someone for those walls to come down in order for me to realize things about myself.
Interesting. Okay. So the premise of Sneaky Links is having situationships, hookups, one night stands, and booty calls.
Yeah.
And me going in there as a relationship coach and trying to help transform your guys' perspective so that we can feel your connection to the person who you most belong with, right?
Yeah.
Is your sneaky link the one, or are they standing in the way of you finding the one? So one of the things that I feel like and I wanted to hear more of, which I'm going to ask you now, is think back to your childhood or maybe even adulthood when it came. Who first set an example for you of what a healthy relationship looks like? How a man is supposed to love a woman?
I've never had a good example of that in my life. So I think it was my last relationship. Thinking back, my parents have had 6 divorces between the two of them. They've never had solid relationships. And even my parents, my dad was always in his next relationship before he was out of his last. So I'm still working on building those boundaries and learning what that looks like. But I've never had a good example of that in my life.
Think about your love life. Who do you feel like you took up after when it comes to your love life and how you date? Is it more your mother or your father?
Oh,
Who do you think you're marrying?
I'm closer to my mother, but not quite. I've really had to change the way I moved in relationships based on their failures. That's what I've learned from their failures. So for me, it's still trial and error, but I think I'm just learning from myself. I can't mirror either of them because they're both toxic, bad.
You're like, I'm not trying to be either of them.
Yeah, no, I can't. I really don't have any healthy relationships in my life I can look after. Maybe my grandparents. Yeah, my grandparents have been together for 50 years. So maybe them.
It's okay. When I ask people that question, a lot of people are like, never.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that it's unfortunate because that means that you're out here just trying to figure it out on your own, hoping that someone's going to teach you, hoping that friends will set the example. Some of us are being influenced by what we see in television. Media teaches us maybe about what relationships are what are supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Or, maybe some of your, family members or cousins or, friends are in relationships and you're like, dang, I kind of like aspire to that. A huge part though is social media telling us like what relationships are supposed to look like. So when we don't have that knowledge or information, we make decisions uninformed.
Yeah.
I think the premise of Sneaky Links was to try to not just get you guys out of like bad habits, but also acknowledge how this is a universal challenge and problem. Okay. And I kind of want to hear from you. How do you feel about people who do situationships, people who are in sneaky link relationships? And do you think it's helping or hurting the relationship culture?
Okay, I'll answer that question, but let me go back to my relationship people that I look up to. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this might be bad, but Will Smith and Jada, I feel like their communication has seemed to me like so open and like ideal for me.
Yeah.
So I listen to a lot of her talks and I feel like she is who I aspire to be in a relationship because I feel like they're so open and communicative. And even when there was like the drama that went down,
they
knew they were both honest about what was going on, and like Will knew what Jada was doing, and that might have been toxic. I don't know what you think that was, but to me I was like, they're communicating, like that's what you want in a relationship. They both know what's going on. So that would be like that would be where I like
that was full level clarity for them.
Yeah.
Like I think that their relationship is one that they have customized for what suits them.
Yep.
And so you saying that you aspire to Jada, I wouldn't say that's far from how you operate, in the sense of what I noticed from Sneaky Links and in our sessions. You are fully transparent. You're like, and I think one of the most vulnerable people on Sneaky Links. You are one of the, for sure, most vulnerable people on Sneaky Links. You said how you felt. You said how things not only affected you, triggered you. You expressed positive sentiments around things, and then you also expressed negative sentiments around things. You knew when you were making choices based off of those emotions, and you addressed it in real time, and held people accountable, and even knew when you were fighting some of the hard choices. So I don't think there was like a lack of awareness there. We're gonna get on patterns later though. We're gonna circle back to that.
Great.
But you're gonna start with telling me, how do you think though that Sneaky Links and hookups and situationships and booty calls is affecting the culture of dating?
I feel like nowadays people are less likely to commit because there's always the next thing. And nowadays people, a lot of times, maybe not a lot of times, people are in relationships because they want sexual intimacy. And it's so easy to get sexual intimacy nowadays that you don't need a relationship to have that. And so I feel like that's how situationships are impacting it, because you can have multiple situationships where you're being satisfied and not need the emotional intimacy, or you can get that from your friends. So the whole culture is being impacted by Sneaky Links. But I don't know if it's a new phenomenon. People have always had booty calls. So I don't know if it's new or if it's just, I think social media has definitely impacted it, because it's so easy to just pick up your phone and look for who's next, where it used to be much harder.
Do you think that we value commitment less?
I think we do. I think we also just see all the divorces and all the failed relationships, and it's kind of like, what's the point? What's the point in looking for a relationship if it's just not going to work in a year or two from now?
Do you believe that you can have a committed relationship with somebody who adores you?
Ooh, I do. I'm in search of that, but I think I can find it.
Where's the ooh come from?
Ooh. The ooh.
Again with the ooh.
The ooh is... because I've been out of luck. Like I keep trying and keep failing, but that doesn't mean I'm not hopeful. And I know it's out there. It might take a while. If it takes 10 years, if it takes 20 years, it's there for me. I might have to keep doing situationships for a while.
Okay.
Not out of choice.
Okay, here we go. So you believe that that there is a future where you're in a committed relationship. So you do value commitment, or you aspire to it.
Yes.
Okay. but we are not practicing or mandating commitment in real time right now.
I am. I'm not. I'm demanding commitment, but I'm dating. I'm not in a space where I can be demanding commitment right now. But I feel like I'm moving like that.
Okay. So, but you said right now that until then you're going to probably continue having situationships. So therefore you're not.
At what point does dating not become a situationship? Because I think when you're casually dating, those are also situationships. Like what's the difference between a situationship and dating? Because
Let's define those. Great question.
Yeah.
So I want to hear Angelique's definition and then I'm going to hop in there with you.
Yeah.
So I think dating is I think dating is.
That's a good question. Are we casually dating or are we dating? Because I'd consider myself dating right now.
I love that she's not. Are we casually dating or dating? We have so many different levels to this dating that every little one has to now be defined. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So right now I consider myself dating.
Okay.
I'm going on Hinge dates. I went on one Hinge date.
Okay.
I'm looking for someone to go on dates with, spend time with, not get intimate with, and hopefully move towards a committed relationship. So that's what I'd say dating is.
Okay, so dating for you is courtship. It looks like you going out, getting to know someone, having a good time.
Yeah.
Okay, what's dating?
To me, that's dating.
Okay.
And then casual dating, when my friends say casual dating, it's like they're going on dates, but they're just looking for hookups. That's what I think
that's casual dating
is.
for you. Okay,
Yeah.
That's your definition.
Yeah, which...
Going on dates, but also getting booty calls?
Yeah. To me, that's casual dating.
Okay, so that's casual dating for you. And then situationship, let's define that.
To me, situationships is when you're dating someone who you know doesn't want to date you, but you're like doing all the boyfriend, girlfriend things without the title. So, but to me, a situationship has gone on for longer.
Okay.
Than just like dating, I guess. I don't know. To me, dating has an end game, end goal, and that's to be in a committed relationship. Situationships to me are like someone you know you're never going to be committed to, but you're situating with them. You're involving yourself.
Does dating, casual dating, and situationships all involve sex?
They don't have to. It depends. I feel like everyone's different.
In your definition and in your experiences, has dating, casual dating, and situationships all involve sex?
Casual dating definitely involve sex.
Okay.
To me. Dating, yes and no. It depends.
Okay.
I think if sex is big for you and that's important, then you should probably have sex if that's something important to you. Situationships, yes, because you're doing all the boyfriend-girlfriend things without the boyfriend-girlfriend title.
Okay. How do you feel like, because these are a lot of different things you just named.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Do you feel like those three different levels, right?
Yeah.
Do they lead to commitment in marriage? Do you believe that those three experiences lead to commitment in marriage?
I don't think a situationship will, because you guys would already be together. I think casual dating could, but people are usually just throwing that term around because they don't want anything serious. But I think dating absolutely can lead to commitment and long-term marriage.
Okay. Let's talk about how it affects your esteem, though.
Yeah.
What is your definition of self-esteem?
Self-esteem, how you view yourself, how you present yourself, kind of like your inner voice.
Yep.
And to like my self-esteem, like I take it in pride. I'm very proud of myself.
Absolutely.
So that's how I think of self-esteem.
How you honor yourself, how you love yourself, essentially how you care for yourself and your well-being, and how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
Do you think that I'm going to ask you again, do you think that the sneaky link hookup culture helps your self-esteem or hurts your self-esteem?
Sneaky link culture hurts your self-esteem.
Okay. How so?
For sure. I would like to preface this by saying I don't think of myself as like a true sneaky linker. Because
so you're a casual sneaky linker?
I don't think I'm a sneaky linker. I mean, with the show, we didn't know it was called Sneaky Links, really. And Travis was the only person that I'd only been sneaky linking with one person for 3 years, however long.
Travis is the only situationship you've ever had.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I wouldn't even say it was a situationship because we didn't really know all that much about each other. So I dislike that I'm now like, oh, I'm a sneaky linker, when it's like, that's not how I was moving prior to and leading up to going on the show, and that's not how I've been moving post show at all. So it's a little bit, I feel like I've been put in a box, and I'm like, no, I'm not, I don't belong in that box. Don't put me in that box. But I mean, even just going on dates, it's nerve-wracking. You want this person to like you. You want to like continue going on it. So for me right now, it like I had to send a text to a guy last night, like, do you want to see me this week? And it can let you down if he says he doesn't want to, which it impacts. It's like, what's wrong with me? What did I do?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not even me. It's them.
Okay. So my concern with let's say all of the different things that you gave, right? From like dating, casual dating, and situationships. The reason why I go so hard against the sneaky link hookup, booty call culture, okay, is because it extremely affects your self-esteem.
Oh, for sure.
From not just the disappointments that come with it, like you had mentioned, but also the emotional roller coaster ride, right? There's these highs and lows, and there's this element that we believe feelings don't get involved, and then they do. And you decide that you want more, usually because you've been sexually intimate with someone, right? That like oxytocin takes over and it's a wrap for you thinking straight. And so you now feel more bonded and connected to someone who hasn't decided if they wanted you. Other elements are the expectation of this is how I'm supposed to be treated. And that person hasn't bought into the idea of you. So even the treatment and respect, or even the bare minimum for courtship, may not be there. So you may be telling the person like, I can handle this. I don't want any more either. And now you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Which then affects trust. Not just trust for the other person, but trust for yourself. So now we're building habits of being in relationships with people who trust is not a part of the equation. Therefore, not creating safety in our life, not establishing security. And now we're moving with a dysregulated nervous system.
Totally. Yeah.
People wonder why we're going crazy. And it's like, okay, this is why.
Yeah.
Talk to me about some of the letdowns and how it affected your esteem when it came to being on the show Sneaky Link. Because you wind up actually, I want to call it, what would you say? Casual dating, or was that a situationship with Colt? What would you say that was? How would you define that?
When I was in the motel, I would like to say that we were dating. We were trying things out. We were moving as we should have. And then looking back, I think it was a situationship because it was never taken seriously on his end. But on my end, it was taken so seriously. And so that's why I was so hurt, because like day one, I was like, oh my gosh, we're so happy. Yeah, and so it was like a big letdown when it went south. But even with Travis, when we would have our sessions, I mean, you were trying to build up trust between me and Travis, because us sneaky linking, even though I did want to just be having casual sex with him, my feelings got involved, because I mentioned this, that I would see him leave the club with another girl, or I would see him out with these girls, and I would be like, why is it not me? And so that's why like sneaky linking is so damaging, because you do start to get those feelings even though you're telling yourself not to. Yeah. I don't know if it's just a woman thing or if men also go through this, but
men go through this as well.
Yeah.
Right. I think they're able to compartmentalize and be a little bit more detached, or have conditioned themselves to, and they might not even express it the way that we do, because we're a lot more vocal, and you know, we're going to tell our friends and we're going to talk about it, so we're going to share a little bit more about it. But I think you said some things that is extremely important, because you started to feel like, why not me? Why didn't I get chosen? Right? You start questioning yourself, therefore leading to you questioning your worth.
Yeah.
Am I not as valuable as the girl he's living with? Am I not good enough? What's wrong with me? Those things will rip us apart.
Totally.
Because now, not only are you feeling low and you're feeling like unloved, now you got to repair. And that part is hard as hell.
Yeah. So that was how things were with Travis. But with Colt in the motel, I feel like I was bummed, but I wasn't ever so torn apart because the things he was saying just weren't even making sense. Like, we didn't align morally. I was doing something that he was doing. So I think when I was in the motel, I might have been sad and emotional, but like my self-esteem was fairly high in there because I knew I was just like, these things don't make sense to me. And I didn't get so down on myself when I was in there about Colt specifically. So I think, yeah, when we were in the motel, maybe because I was dating differently than I was, let's say, compared to Travis, it was a little bit easier to just like move on. And I mean, you don't see me on the show. You don't see me go to other boys' rooms. You don't see me trying things out with Justin.
Yeah, you weren't sneaky linking that with that many people. Like, you weren't running around with other people trying different flavors.
But I was. When me and Cole ended, I went to Justin's room. I went to Brandon's room. I was having talks with all of them. Or not Brandon's room. David. Sorry, I forget David's name. I have him blocked. He's one person I have blocked from the show, so I forget his name.
Damn. Why are we blocking David?
Because he's toxic.
Oh my God, what did David do?
David, in the group message, he says stuff like, every time I see a picture of Angelique, I want to throw up. And like, I was having stomach problems on the like post show, and he brings it up in the group message, and he just called me out, and I'm not fucking around. Like, don't be making me feel bad. So I have him blocked.
Oh my God. Yeah. I did not know this drama behind the scenes was going on.
No, I don't want to talk to that man.
Because they didn't show you sneaking around that much.
Yeah, they don't. But the night that me and Colt broke up, I went to Justin's room, David's room, and then I was talking to Brandon. So they don't I was like, okay, me and Colt are done, let me move on. And I did move on.
I saw behind the cameras because we had, I'm in like the green room, and I'm like watching everything going on.
Yeah,
but they don't show it on the show, and I'm like, I was surprised. I was like, oh wow, they're not they're really making it look like you were just all in for Colt.
Yeah, and they make it look like I was sad. I was sad, but I was more so sad about I was still getting over my ex. So I feel like all the times you see me crying, I'm crying about my ex. But yeah, I moved on quick, and I think because my self-esteem when I was in the motel was high, and I had the thing with Colt, but I also knew like all the other guys wanted to talk to me. I just didn't want to talk. I didn't want to talk to them. And then I still had options once things ended with Colt, but it didn't work out.
Why did we entertain Colt for so long when there were so many red flags?
Honestly, I didn't feel like I wasn't attracted to many of the other guys in there. And so I was just like, well, I'm not going to go after any of these other men. I saw how Brandon was moving. We saw how Manny was moving. Who else did we have in there? Travis was with Zoe. Like, I was just like, well, this is my only option, but I should have done a Nicole V and just been like, none of these men are meeting my standards. I need to walk away. And I wish I had done that. But I was also, I mean, you see me getting lied to. Like, you see Colt come tell me one thing, like, no, me and Kelsey just had a conversation saying we're done. And then it shows the conversation, and it's like, that's not what's happening at all. So I think also I was just trusting someone who was lying to me and giving them that, giving that faith that what they were saying was true, and it wasn't. So I don't know how I could have, I mean, you were telling me, Angelique, you need to back up.
Girl,
but I'm like, this man is telling me this, so I need to listen to him, or I need to believe him. So I was just hopeful. I was hopeful.
Okay. I mean, and I love hope, right? Yeah. I want us to remain hopeful in a world where we still want love. But I do think, though, when the signs are clear, I think that you brought up a good point. A lot of women will stay in situationships or with someone that they're comfortable with because they don't feel like there's other options.
Yeah.
So because of that belief sinking in and you believing that, okay, well, I'm not going to be able to connect with anyone else, we will try to make something work when the person is disrespecting us, lying to our face, making us feel bad about ourselves and even questioning our intuition.
For sure.
So looking back, what do you feel like you could have done differently with Cole? Is there anything that you're like, I wish I would have handled this situation different?
I wish I would have spoken up more, because I realized on the show and in real life, I tend to just not speak my mind about things because I don't like wasting my breath, it's dumb because then I'm not getting out what I need to say. And I wish I had just told him more that he was dragging me down. He was doing the same behavior he was calling me out for, but worse. And I didn't call his ass out. I was just quiet about it.
Oh no, the hypocrisy was crazy.
Yeah. And I'm mad at myself for not speaking up when I should have. But I feel like if I moved differently, I guess I could have been could have been testing out my options more, but I truly felt like I had done that and not liked what I saw. So maybe I should have walked away. That's what I should have done.
Okay, let's talk about one of the main key elements of what a sneaky link is, or a situationship, or a hookup. Do you feel like you rushed the physical intimacy with Colt too soon?
I don't think so. I feel like we didn't even spend the night together until we were awarded the spicy suite, and I didn't even stay the night in there. I went back to my room. I didn't sleep in that room with him. And then we were just kissing, and it's hard because you're in a motel. There's no couch.
Yeah.
Like, you're on a bed, and I feel like we kissed like the third night when we were in there, which at that point was a couple of dates. Mm-hmm. So maybe, but if I'm on a date in the real world, I'm not going to kiss them the first date, which I didn't with Colt, like maybe the second or third date. And we did do that. I felt like we had spent a significant amount of time in there before we moved on to second base. Mm-hmm. So in my head, no.
Okay. So here's where I'm going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
I believe that we should not be physically intimate going to, let's just say, home base.
Yeah.
Until we have the commitment.
Okay, great.
How does that sound to you? Does that sound crazy to you?
No, not at all. Because I think someone should know you more before getting that, because a lot of times once they have that, they're like, oh, I got that, I'm done.
I will not let my clients hook up with a dude until we get that commitment, that verbal agreement. You are my girlfriend. I am your boyfriend. I am not sleeping with anybody else. I don't want to be with anybody else. Yeah. I am going to publicly claim you and profess my undying love and affection to you. What makes a sneaky link sneaky, and what makes it almost a trap, is you are spending quality time with someone, or what feels like it could be quality time, but your emotions are trying to be cut off. You're trying to make sure that, like, hey, I'm protecting myself, so I'm not going to let myself go all the way emotionally, but I am going to let myself go all the way physically. Mm-hmm. But that does us a disservice, because once we go there physically, now we're trying to play catch up and then now convince the person how wonderful and great we are. But we've already given ourselves to them physically. And so the incentive and the curiosity and the mystery of learning more about you has now left the building. Do you understand how that can happen?
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
So if we slow down the rate of intimacy, right? And what that looks like is us having more conversations. It looks like us spending more time together. It looks like the courtship process.
Yeah.
But letting them know, I don't, unfortunately, like, as much as I want you, right? Because I do think we need to affirm them. As much as I want you and I want to, like, see you naked and I want you inside of me.
Yeah.
I can't go there with you until the trust has been established. And they're going to ask, well, how do we establish the trust? Well, it looks like commitment for me. It looks like certainty about me. It looks like you being sure that you're all in. Until you're all in, I can't let you all in me.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like it's hard because when we were awarded the spicy suite, it's like this room that's all romantic with nothing but sex toys, all these sex games. And I remember we sat in the bed and I was like, I don't even want this. Like, I want a date with you. Like, I don't want to be awarded the overnight suite. I think when we were awarded, I wasn't even that excited. I was like, this isn't what I want. Mm-hmm. So, but of course, like, I still went to the room. I went along with it. So yeah, it's hard because a lot of the things on the show I was doing is not what I wanted, which is also my behavior not aligning with what my brain wants.
Yes. So even though you're put in a situation, right, and that happens, like sometimes, you know, a dude is like, oh, you want to go to a bar, you know, come back to my place. While I'm against that, because you're going to put yourself in a very intimate space that can lead to something else, right? We had to test you guys. We had to put you in a situation where it's like, okay, you say that you want something different. When we put you in this environment, do you behave differently?
Yeah.
Are you making different choices? Because this was, you know, this was a isolated, you know, situation in the sense of, like, you guys couldn't leave and, like, go, you know, find somebody else in the outside world to hook up with. So because of that, right? But it was supposed to also mirror, like, the outside world in the sense of, when put in situations with people, can I see what's going on, assess it, and then choose differently when I'm saying that I want something different? I'm saying that I want to commit a relationship. I'm saying that I came here to this motel to find love, but are these steps leading me to love.
Yeah.
And I feel like as women, the way that we start behaving is based on us falling in love with the idea of who that person is going to be to us, what that person, the wolf tickets that person is selling us. I call it future faking.
Yeah.
Future faking is when you are dating someone and they tell you everything that you want to hear about the future. They start listing off the vacations that you guys are going to go on, the family that's going to hang out together at the events. They start talking about, oh my gosh, when we have kids, they're going to be so beautiful. They start talking about like, can you imagine like our wedding? Like our wedding is going to be, do we want destination or do we want that? That is someone gassing you up, making you fall in love with the idea of what this could be. The evidence, though, is where I have to like reel everyone back in and be like, where's the receipts? So has flights been bought? Has an appointment with his mama been set up? And so going through the experiment was the things that we felt like were, okay, well, let's put you in these situations, but then also let's add other elements that would make you guys uncomfortable, that would make it more real for you. Like making everyone meet the family. And so we threw in these other layers in there. But honestly, if we really made someone and forced them, no, you are going to get to know me. And if you don't want to get to know me, that actually means that you're not interested or you're not emotionally available to me.
Yeah.
You're emotionally available to somebody else, maybe, but you are refusing to be emotionally available to me. And I feel like you really, I saw you wanting to open up your heart. Like I saw you like very much wanting Colt to be better than who Colt was presenting himself to be. I'm not gonna lie, he was charming as hell. I'm even like watching behind the scenes. Like I really was watching everything going on with you guys. Like the amount of spying that I was supposedly doing on you guys. There was a lot of spying going on though. And I'm just like watching you guys and I'm like, oh, he's good. I was like, oh, this fool. I'm gonna have him on the show, one of the episodes. But I was like, he's good. Tricky. I know what he's doing. Like every single thing that he was doing to you guys, from the gaslighting to the future faking to the like weighing his options and then putting it back on you, Angelique, I was like, these excuses to try to make it seem like it's like you're the problem, like it's your fault. While I do think that you played a role in some of your choices and why it didn't work out, I also think that the audience matters, right?
Totally.
I feel like the person who you were trying to open up your heart to matters. It has to be somebody who's not just telling you that they want to, but who's actually willing to. And when we introduced Kelsey to the show, talk to me a little bit about the frustration that you started to feel. What was the sentiments around seeing him go back and forth?
I think at first when Kelsey came in, I was like, we needed a test. Like when he kisses her, I'm not that mad. I'm like, you know what? Like, we should go through this, let him test his connections with other people. I think the frustration came from where he just couldn't make up his mind when he cooks us both meals. I'm like, just cook for Kelsey, like cook for one person. And it was also, I mean, everyone in there was like, what is Colt doing?
What is
he
doing?
What is he doing? Even the guys were like, we don't know what he's doing. He tells us he's going to be with you. He's going to do this. And then he does the complete opposite. And so I think it was the limbo that was driving me crazy. I'm like, why am I stuck in this situation? And even me and Kelsey were talking and it was just like, we were friends. Me and Kelsey were good, but it was Colt just not making up his mind. And then just watching him back say these things in his interviews, and I'm like, why didn't you say these things to my face? Or why weren't you honest? And like, if I was so bad to you that you have to be like dramatic in your interviews and say you're so happy you're done, then like, why were you even in it in the first place? So it's just it's frustrating watching it back and just being like, just knowing that he was dishonest. And I've seen him, I mean I saw him 2 weeks ago in Nashville. And
how was that?
It was good. I mean, I started video recording what he was saying, and he was like, are you recording me right now? And I feel like I have to record what he says, but he had...
You're like, I'm about to post this on TikTok, yes.
He had told some people that everything on the show was fake, that everything he did was fake. And so when I saw him in Nashville, I'm like, was it fake or was it real? And he's like, no, everything with you was real 100%. So I'm just like, I don't know where
You heard him saying to someone that like what he was demonstrating was fake?
Yeah, that everything that he did on the show was fake. All of his feelings for me, all of his feelings for Kelsey were fake.
Like
and
you
then
heard him saying that?
I heard him tell someone else on the show. And then he told me that it wasn't. So it's just like, I just don't know where the lies start and end with him. So, I mean, looking back, it's just kind of like, I just take it as I was lied to for 3 weeks straight. And
No, but that's sad. If we can laugh about it now that we're like out of it, right?
Yeah.
And we're not like secluded and stuck on, you know, in Arizona together.
Yeah.
But like, it is unfortunate. And I think that Colt is an actual great example. I think you and his dynamic, to me, had the most lessons.
Yeah.
Okay. Because while we're watching you make your choices, we're also watching how Colt is playing this game in the sense of, I have two people who I want. I haven't decided. I'm actually going to accept and get attention from everyone.
Yeah.
And in the real world, even with my clients at the Spicy Life, I tell them, you're going to date multiple people. I do not want you making the decision because you need to collect and gather as much information as possible.
Yeah.
So dating multiple people, yes, I am a huge advocate of that so that you can learn about them and learn about yourself. And do I like who I am and who I show up with this person? But when we're not being transparent about dating other people and that person thinks that they have already been chosen or they are the only one, now it's malicious because you know that you're running the risk of hurting this person and you are holding this person hostage without their consent and full transparency. Because if you told them everything, they would now have the option to go.
Yeah.
But I do think, though, that you saw a lot what was going on.
Yeah.
So you weren't necessarily hostage because you did see new people added into the element and him saying yes to the invitations. But you still being affectionate with him, even knowing that he's potentially pursuing somebody else.
Yeah.
He hasn't fully bought into you. He hasn't fully chosen you yet, right? And even when he did make his declaration of like, okay, I'm choosing you,
Yeah.
he still was like venturing off.
Yeah.
He wasn't ever fully in it.
Yeah.
And I think that can mess up our esteem like crazy.
Yeah.
Because now you're not just angry with the person for the deception, you're also angry with yourself for buying into it.
Yeah.
At any point were you mad at yourself?
I think I was more just confused than anything else. And I think maybe when we had our breakup conversation, was I mad at myself? No, I wasn't mad.
Good.
I wasn't mad because I feel like I led with my heart and I did put it out there.
Yeah.
And maybe I would not give him my time, but never mad because I feel like I learned a lesson.
Yeah.
I tried to not be too hard on myself because I was like that when I was younger and I can't do that now.
But these are the growing pains that you have to go through.
Yeah.
When I was watching your guys' situation, I'm looking at your relationship play out with him through the lens of what I experienced when I was younger. And so at the same place that you are now, having gone through that, I remember when I had an ex-boyfriend and at the time he was my boyfriend and he was trying to decide between me and his ex.
Yeah.
And I remember the signs were clear. It was there, right? He was like, oh, I don't know. I can't decide. And it's like, now as an adult, I can say the most unattractive thing. When a man is uncertain, when he's indecisive, that's a lack of masculinity to me.
Yeah.
Because he's riding the wave of emotions versus being very clear and intentional and direct in his plan for what he wants.
Yeah.
And I was hoping to see more of that. I was like, please give that to me.
Yeah.
Please lead this woman to, the promised land.
Yeah.
And that wasn't happening.
Yeah. Well, and Colt knew what he wanted when Kelsey came in and it wasn't me and he still chose to like lead me on and tell me lies. And as you said, like a lack of masculinity, he could have just said how he felt like I was doing, but he didn't. And I think that's I feel like Colt has self-confidence issues personally. I think that he has stuff he needs to work on and that's why he's still treating people the way he's treating them. But yeah.
Do you want to hear my theory on what I think was going on between you and Kelsey and Colt?
Yeah, give it to me.
I think
Lay it out there.
Okay. I felt like I understand why he was captivated with you and intrigued and interested. Okay. Because I saw a lot of the way that you managed the energies and your socialing, like the way that you were social in on I think it was like episode 1 when we brought you guys all together.
Yeah.
I was watching and I was like, oh, okay. You and Nicole had very outgoing personalities.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the social butterfly, the person who like talks to everyone, works the room, is in the spotlight, right? And I think that it also demonstrated like your playfulness, your fire.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of men are attracted to that fire. I think a lot of men also see this beautiful creature, this, let's just say exotic specimen that they want for themselves, right? There's this deep desire for it. But then when you have it, you're also like, well, now I want to cage it.
Yeah.
And while the fire looked attractive, now it's like, okay, but I want to put it out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when we get in situations with men who want to put that fire out, now we're confronted with, right, the esteem drop. We're confronted with like, well, I don't recognize myself anymore.
Yep.
Like, I'm not showing up my best self because like the things that you said you liked about me, now you're trying to dull down. Now you were okay with this in the beginning. Now you're trying to say that, it's a problem.
Yeah.
And you're trying to dull me down. Right. And I relate to that because I'm like, I'm goddamn spicy. I'm not mild.
Yeah.
So this is what you're signing up for. I actually had this conversation with my husband. So I'm watching you and I'm like, dang, I get Angelique. I get it.
Yeah.
And then I see Kelsey.
Yeah.
Who is very opposite of you to me. Right. I understand that when we threw her into the mix, that was his typical type.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that happens in the real dating world. It is like, you're the fiery. I'm attracted to this. She's undeniably beautiful, and she has all the personality. She gets a lot of attention. And then here is the more presentable woman who I'm usually physically with, but that also presents wholesome and safe.
Yeah.
And I feel like he went the safe route because that's what he's used to. And I also feel like when a man understands that, I don't want to make this a control thing. You can't be controlled and you can't be tamed.
Yeah.
And I feel like Kelsey carries more of the energy of she's more malleable. She's more, she's just a safer option. And I feel like he went the safe route.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me how far off you think I am from that.
I agree 100% because it was, and you hear him say like Angelique has this like thing about her, and then he did start dragging me for those things that he liked in the very beginning, and then that's when you do see me like revert inward, and I'm like less speaking up and less vocal about what the hell is going on, and even post-show, like he's had issues with things I've said on my interviews, and he's calling me out, and he's like, he's like, hey, you need to say that we're not together. And I'm like, what do you mean? I said, I think that you're dating someone. He's like, well, that's not okay. And I'm like, first of all, you do not control me. So post-show, I've been speaking up way more because I'm like, don't tell me what to do. Like, I had it with you enough in the motel and I'm not going to take it now.
You're still trying to control me.
But yeah, I am like I'm the one that speaks up. Like I'm the fiery one. Like, don't try to dull me down. And so I'm sad that I'm not like that on the show, that I got put out. But I was in the beginning, was very much like that. And then I'd take a little dip and then come out of it.
I wanted to shake you so hard.
I wish
but you
had.
You had to go through your process though. I also understand that there's a certain element of the growing pains that will stretch you, right? That like the phoenix will rise from the ashes.
Yeah.
But sometimes, and for everyone, it's a slippery slope. You in particular, like you're fine, you're flourishing, you were able to do the experiment. But in the everyday real world, people who experience sneaky leaks and situationships don't always recover.
Yeah.
Some people allow it to define them. It shapes them, it molds them, and leaves an imprint on them that they aren't able to get past.
Yeah.
It turns into not just low self-esteem, but eventually self-hate. Because someone out there has convinced them that they're not lovable.
Yeah.
And it could have started early on in their youth, and now in their adulthood, they're making choices and men from that. But I want the world, in addition to like women in particular, because gosh, I love us, because we just love so hard, we ride so hard for these men, and that's why we have to be so calculated. I feel like I want to use the word calculated in who we decide to give our heart, our time, and our energy to. And so give a little bit of advice to women who you feel like have gone through a complicated situation like that, right? Or who experience the Travis or even the cults of the world. How do you recover from that? What are you doing in order to increase the confidence back after the rejection? After someone doesn't maybe choose you, what do you do now to pour back into self?
I have to look at all my accomplishments. That's what I do. And I think everything I've done in my life, I've done by myself. I've never had help. I put myself through college. I mean, my parents didn't even graduate high school. Like, I graduated high school, went to college, I'm in law school, I've traveled the world. And even people that have not done all those things, like, we've all gotten to where we are today because of ourselves, and that's it. And so I have to do a lot of like, I have to think back to all the moments I'm proud of myself for. And even if they're small, they're so small, but I'm so proud of where I got to today. And I've done that without a man, and I've done that with men doing things that they've done to me. And so it's just a lot of internal reflecting. And I compare myself to my parents a lot, because my parents are, as I said earlier, my parents are crazy. And I just think I've done so much on my own, and I'm proud of myself for that. And even making it to the show, and like, people saw something in me, and that's very special to me. And I think even just having like my girlfriends that I have around me, like, I talk to them every day. And I know earlier you said, like, are you looking for a committed relationship? And I am, and I know it'll come to me. And I just have to have faith that it's there. It might, if it takes me however long, I know it's going to be there for me. And until I get there, like, I'm just going to keep doing me and being happy and not letting other people take away my happiness.
I want to hear, does it sound crazy to you though that I'm suggesting you not sleep with anyone until you're in a committed relationship?
No, that's not crazy at all.
Does it sound like something you're capable of?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that's how I've been like moving since the show. I've been trying to date, but still not finding someone that completely matches. But I did go on a date last week, so we'll see how this week goes. But yeah, I definitely want to avoid physical intimacy. Okay, but on that, how do you feel about kissing? Like, should people kiss?
Kiss them if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, but do not kiss because they may expect you to, or do not kiss because you want them to like you, right? Because I think oftentimes we'll exchange affection because maybe the chemistry is not there, or maybe we're trying to spark something. We're trying to create some magic that we didn't feel. And, or we're trying to find like an elimination process. Like, okay, well, if the kiss isn't good, like, no, affection needs to be exchanged because like we actually want to feel what this person's mouth feels like against our lips. Like but it cannot be, okay, oh gosh, it's the end of the date and he's walking me to my car, I'm gonna have to kiss him so that he asks me out again.
Yeah. Oh no, I ended this date so quickly. I was like, well, here's my street, and just turned away so quick, and I need to talk to him about it. But no, I feel awkward at the end of dates because I don't ever want to kiss. And I'm like, oh, let's not drag this out.
But I think that if us as women as a collective, right, we're more honest about how we actually felt. Like if we're in tune with ourselves and we're like, I'm not really certain about if I want to like be affectionate with this person. That lack of certainty should very much lead to like it not happening.
Yeah.
And then us communicating that, like, I think you're attractive. I had a good time. However, I don't want to be affectionate yet. Like, I hope you're comfortable with that. I would love to spend more time with you and get to know you, and we can potentially grow that, but we don't need to speed anything right now.
Totally.
Because I think we're uncomfortable to do that because we don't want to make the person feel rejected, or we want to avoid confrontation. But if they have a problem with you not wanting to slob them down, then what are we doing here, sir?
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah. I had someone who I think is interested in me that I'm not interested in walked me home from a bar one night, and he was like, should I come up? And I was like, no, you can go home. Like, just go home. Didn't kiss him, nothing. And I was so proud of myself because I think as women, we kind of are like, well, this person just walked me home. They just spent time. Like, I should kiss them or I should do something. And I was like, nope, goodbye. Sent him on his way, which was great for me because now he's still very much interested, which is, I think, what you have to do, as you're saying, like, hold off on that stuff if you're not comfortable and like say no.
I'm going to do the pizza with you.
Okay.
This is an exercise that I do with all my clients. Okay. My listeners, audience, everyone has seen the pizza a million times. Okay. The pizza is infamous.
Okay.
But this is going to be your roadmap in your navigating who you should be dating, so that you can avoid the men, who aren't certain about you.
Okay.
But more importantly, I want you to be certain about them.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to write it down as you do the exercise. I'm going to send it to you later so that you have this.
Okay, great. I'm nervous.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay. The pizza has 3 layers: crust, sauce, toppings. Okay. The crust is a foundation. We're going to break down what you believe makes a good person.
Okay.
The sauce, what do you need in order to feel loved? How do you need to be treated? What are the sentiments that they need to create? And what are the actions that someone has to take in order to woo you?
Okay.
Okay. The next is toppings. How does this person have to look in order for me to be sexually attracted to them? Okay.
Ooh, okay.
What are the physical, superficial elements in order for me to want them?
Okay.
First, give me the crust.
Okay.
What do you believe makes a good human? A good human on earth. Not a man or woman, just a good human, okay? It could be both genders. It doesn't have to be specific to dating. Just what do you believe makes a good person? Give me that.
For all my friendships, I think there needs to be clear communication, clear, open communication. If you say you're going to show up at a certain time, show up at that time. If you're going to be late, you need to communicate with me that you're going to be late. That's my biggest pet peeve, people not communicating.
So if you're not a good communicator, you're a bad person.
To me,
it's okay to communication is in my crest too, girl. So.
Okay, I'll say that.
Okay,
You're maybe not a bad person. You're just someone I don't want anything to do with.
Trust me, I get it. But if you don't want anything to do with them, that means they're not good enough. So this is what you believe. This is yours. Everybody has a different pizza.
Yep.
Give me the second element. What do you think makes a good human?
Loyalty to me is big, because I need to know that you have my back. If something goes down, you're going to be there for me. I can trust that if you're in a space where my name is brought up, you're saying good things about me.
Okay.
Even if you know the bad, you're not saying the bad, because that doesn't need to be discussed. So loyalty. What's another one? I think we need to have depth with our conversations. It can't be... Even on a first date, if I'm even on a first date with a friend, like, I go deep. I'm like, tell me about growing up. Tell me like what you went through. Tell me about your family. Like, tell me about you. What things do you want out of this life?
Okay. So we're going to say emotional intimacy, depth. And next, you get 2 more.
2 more. Personal growth. You have to always be looking to grow. And it doesn't always have to be career oriented. It just has to be some way you're leveling yourself up all the time in small ways.
One more. What makes a good human?
Ooh, well, another one. I think not in control of your emotions isn't a good way to put it, but someone that like knows themselves and knows how to, like, isn't going to explode on me.
Okay.
But that also goes in with communication.
Do you want self-awareness or self-regulation?
Ooh.
So self-awareness is like understanding your feelings. Yeah. Self-regulation is managing your feelings.
Self-awareness.
Okay. So you want the awareness of the feelings.
Yeah.
Okay. You sure you don't want the emotional regulation, the self-regulation?
I mean, we could do both, but if
you only get one.
Self-awareness.
Okay.
For sure. Hands down. Because I will say, like, if you can't regulate, that's a whole nother issue. But if you don't even know what you're experiencing to start with, then we can't move forward.
Beautiful. So we have our crust, right? You just identified what you believe makes a good human. I come to you and I'm like, Angelique, girl, I found a good human and he's a dude. Okay. Yes. I really think that he is the crust. Now you have to date him. What is the sauce? How does he have to treat you in order for you to actually be fond of him, in order for you to want him forever and ever? How does he have to treat you? Give me the 5 ways that this man has to treat you.
5 ways. He has to listen to what I'm saying and listen and want to hear what I'm saying. That's number 1. I think also remembering what I'm saying is really important to me too. But that that goes along with like, are you listening and like wanting to listen?
Okay.
They have to show up for me. So help me out in small ways. Like if, let's say like I've had a bad day or like I don't have time to cook dinner or something. And they're like, oh, you know what? I got you. Someone that'll like step up, fill in where I need them is big. And I know that can be hard when you're first dating, but like if I say, I don't know, if I tell them like, oh, this is my favorite thing to do, and then they plan a date and that's the next thing we do. So.
Okay, so you want them planning dates?
Yeah, kind of.
Because that's different than stepping up when I need them.
Yeah.
Okay, so far you have listen to learn. I put acts of service because you want him to do things for you. You said.
Okay, I like planning dates, but like sometimes I'm like, let's just do something I like to do.
That's every woman. Every woman's like, I want a man who plans. Ooh, I wish you had planned something different.
Yeah, exactly.
Why are we like this?
Let's see. What else do I need? I'm glad we're talking about this because clearly, like, I don't always know exactly what I need.
But you and every woman, like, hasn't thought this through.
Yeah.
So you go out there in the world and you're waiting for someone to show you what you like and teach you what you like versus being very clear on it, right?
Yeah.
So we have listen to learn, acts of service. You give 3 more things that you get.
I need him for me to keep his word. So I don't know if that was in my crust, but like my ex would always say he was going to do something and then never do it. And so I need someone that like follows up on their word. If you say...
So consistency or follow through?
Consistency. Yeah. If you say, I want to see you this weekend, then like make it happen.
Okay.
Consistency. We have 2 more. Yep. Something that I need. I need someone that can hold a... I feel like this is all blending with my crust now. I need someone who can converse with me back and forth, but like deeply, not just surface level. So I don't know if education fits into it.
Education would have gone in your crust too. So this is how he treats you.
Yeah.
This is just the treatment. This is how he makes me feel. This is how he woos me. Now, I will allow education if we switch it, if we turn it into intellectual intimacy.
Yeah.
If we say he must teach me something new every day, he must expose me to different life lessons. That's different, but you'll get that in the crust because he's also into self-growth.
Yeah.
How does he treat you romantically? I want you to focus on the treatment romantically in order for me to love him, in order for me to know that he likes me even.
Yeah. I feel like this is hard because I haven't had a relationship in so long and time for dating.
You also haven't demanded half of these things.
I know. But the things that I want to say are just so like cliche, like he needs to be kind to me, but that's, we know that. We know that.
What does kindness look like? If you, let's just say that that's what you go with, right? I'm going to like push on it and be like, okay, well, what does that look like? How do I show up kind for you? What would I have to do? These are the actions and behaviors.
Yeah, it's hard because I just want like the bare minimum, like compliment me, show up on time. I feel like so many of my things are intertwined to
compliment.
It's also like respect, I think. And like respect for me takes on so many different forms. Like I said, like timing, communication, like loyalty for me, that all falls under like respect. So what would be another one? Like I also need a man that like doesn't take himself too seriously, and that involves like being silly with me and like making jokes and like.
So he has to make you laugh?
Yeah, but that's also, everyone says that.
But this is your pizza.
I know.
So if you want that, if you're like, okay, the treatment needs to be that this person, you know, has me rolling on the floor, then that's how you need to be treated. You need him cracking jokes. You need him to be silly with you and playful.
I need it to go both ways. I need us both to be able to laugh at each other.
Okay.
Like if he can be making me laugh, but then not think anything I say is funny, then
you're like, I'm hilarious.
Yeah, that's not good.
Okay. So you need listen to learn, acts of service, consistency, follow through, compliments, and laugh at each other.
Yeah.
And then you're capable of loving him.
Yeah. I think.
Okay. What do you need in order to now take your clothes off? So give me the 5 superficial elements. This is the toppings.
Okay. Shoes, you have to have like good shoe game. Like if I look at you and you're wearing like some nerdy IT shoes, I can't do it.
Okay.
I know that's so bad. That's so superficial, but that's the first thing I look at, shoes. Okay. Shoes. Tall. I have
define tall.
I would say
that's different for everyone.
6'1" and above. But like 6 feet is fine sometimes. If you get all the other things and then we're at 6 feet, we're fine.
I'm just gonna put 6 feet since that's the bare minimum.
6 feet. They have to have confidence. You can tell like when they walk in.
That's not a top thing.
You don't think so?
I can't.
Physically?
It has to be physical, superficial features.
Physical, superficial features. You have to have hair.
Okay.
You can't be bald. If you look under, you need to look like under 32.
Okay.
So youth, is that a topping?
Okay, yeah,
Because
youth can be a topping.
Because my parents are so young, once we start getting into like, I'm 30, so like 35-year-olds sometimes look like they would date my mom, or like they look too much like my dad, and
Okay.
it's like I can't do it.
You have shoe game, tall, 6 foot, hair, look under 32, youth. You get one more.
Yeah, one more. Okay, superficial. I've never dated a blonde man. Can't be blonde.
Okay, so brunette or redhead? What are options? Brunette?
Black hair.
Okay, so dark hair.
Yeah, not blonde.
Okay, those are the 5 requirements for you to sleep with them. Like looks wise, like in order for me to be sexually attracted to this person.
Yeah.
Okay. So with the pizza, you now begin navigating dating with these elements. These are the non-negotiables.
Yeah.
These makes your standards higher because now they're clearly defined. Someone doesn't come along and make you compromise them because these are your standards, and they don't have to behave in a certain way or trick you into having some, because you're very clear when they don't do this, you know, okay, I have to walk away.
Yeah.
Here's why. You just define for me what you believe makes a good person with the crust.
Yeah.
If you say, Spicy, he doesn't have the crust.
Yeah.
He's missing 3 out of 5 of the crust. So why are we still with him? Because you literally told me this is what makes a good person. So you're telling me you're staying with a bad person? This is what you defined as a good person.
Yeah.
You got to walk away if he doesn't have the crust, because he's not even a good human. So he is going to destroy you if he is not in line with your value system, because those are essentially what you are telling me are your values. Those are the things that you value. But if you value these things, high self-esteem would say, I value these things and I'm going to honor them. Anyone who doesn't have these things now has the ability to destroy my esteem, and I don't really value them, because if I valued it, I would treat it with the love and respect that it deserves. Okay? The sauce, which was a little harder for you.
Yeah.
The treatment was the hardest part for you.
Yeah.
The treatment was, you were a little stuck on the treatment, which we're even going to do more work around the treatment.
Yeah.
Because I think for a lot of women, we don't know how we want to be treated. We're waiting for someone to show us how we want to be treated.
Yeah.
And if we weren't loved maybe even the way that we wanted growing up, we're now looking for something that makes us feel good, but we don't know how to define it yet. And I'm very big on like, no, we're going to define this thing. We're going to define this thing so we can notice it when it happens and when it's in front of us. Because if you don't know this is how you have to be treated, then you don't know when to stay and when to walk away.
Yeah.
So I don't want you hopeful and wishing on a star. I want you being actually like mindful, strategic, intentional.
Yeah.
So your sauce, if they don't treat you with these things that you just mentioned to me, you said listening to learn, acts of service, consistency, follow through, compliments, and laughing at each other.
Yeah.
It's a no-no.
Yeah.
But here's the 2 exceptions I will make for the sauce. Only get 2 exceptions.
Okay.
He is guidable in one of the elements. So let's just say that let's just say for acts of service, right? His love language is like gifts. So he gives you a lot of gifts, and he's not doing all the laborsome things, you know what I'm saying? He's not building shelves and all that. Like, he's not picking you up from the airport, like all the little things that we like as women.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he guidable? When I express to him that I need this thing and I cherish this thing and acts of service is important to me, will he be flexible and malleable to try to do those things?
Yeah.
Because then he's guidable. Other element is he shows you something that you didn't know you needed. So say you gave me this list right here, and he actually shocks and surprises you that he's not that great at compliments because he didn't get maybe a lot of affirmation growing up. But oh my God, he's mind blowing when it comes to helping you with your vision and strategize, or helping you build your business, or helping, maybe he's a phenomenal leader, or maybe he's the best planner in the world. Like he overcompensates with something else that maybe you didn't even realize, like accountability part. Like maybe he's overly exceptional in another area that you're like, dang, I didn't even know I needed this.
Yeah.
That's the only two loopholes.
Okay.
Toppings, it's all negotiable.
Yeah. Yes. I feel so superficial with those toppings.
But you were quick with the toppings though. You're like, oh, I know these toppings.
Yeah.
But with the toppings, those are all negotiable because we can get him new shoes.
Totally.
Height, people always say the height thing.
Yeah.
The hair looking youthful. Okay. The toppings, while we might not be able to like get him a hair transplant and like grow him a toupee, the reason why the toppings are negotiable is because those are the elements that make a good husband. And if we're going to get you like this committed relationship and down the aisle eventually one day, because I would love that for you, you have to honor this system. And if you tell me, Spicy, I met someone who has the crust and the sauce, I'm going to be like, that's a great freaking pizza.
Yeah.
The toppings, the person will become more attractive to you if they are a good person and they're treating you this way. You have to be mature though to be able to love them and accept them. But the way that we were dating in the motel and the way that we date nowadays is like toppings, right? Because we're looking at like, how does this person look? Yeah. Crust is last, sauce is like second. Yeah. So it should always be crust, sauce, toppings, not toppings, sauce, crust.
That makes sense.
And so if you start navigating this way, you will not wind up in situationships. You will not wind up with this nigga link. Yeah. You will not wind up with that like, oh my God, this person just like destroyed me, because you are making sure that you are mindful and tapped into self. Yeah. You are the person who is navigating. You are the person who's able to walk away quicker when these non-negotiables are right in front of you.
I think it's good having this because, I mean, a lot of women don't know what they're looking for and don't know what they need. And I feel like it's hard for me to put into words what it is that I'm looking for, but it's so easy for me to be like, I know what I'm not looking for based off my past relationships. I know what I don't want, but then trying to verbalize what is it that I do want. So I'm glad that we did this and it's all making sense. Like, yeah, these are the building blocks that I need to start with. And if I'm not having that, then I shouldn't be moving forward because it's going to be a source of unhappiness.
Here's the hard part, the next level. You have to be this.
Yeah.
You have to be the pizza.
Yeah.
So you said communication, loyalty, emotional intimacy, personal growth, self-awareness. That's what you believe make a good human. You have to operate in that way. Yeah. When you operate in that way, you will be a magnet for that person. And when you operate in that way, you'll be able to eliminate anyone who isn't that person. You'll be able to recognize it because you are operating so present in the values that you say that are important to you. When someone comes along and they're, a little wolf in sheep's clothing, yeah, you'll be like, sir, no. Actually, these things are important to me. Yeah. I know exactly what these things are. I know how it looks. I know how it feels. And you're not it. So instinctually, you will be like, no. Yeah. And then I don't care if they're a good person. If they don't have the sauce, if they're not treating you the way that you deserve, the way that you need in order to love them, you can't even entertain it either. Because if they don't have the sauce and they're not treating you like the queen that you are, great, you're a good person. What am I going to do with that? Yeah. You don't want me. And you're clearly not doing the things that it takes to like court me and keep me. So we got to have both. Yeah. Toppings, you can change your shoe game up. Take them to Foot Locker. Where are people buying shoes these days? Nordstrom's. I'm like, that's where I go for shoes. We can change his shoe game up though. Yeah. So I don't care if he has some tech shoes. Is that what you called him?
Yeah, I said tech shoes.
Tech shoes. I don't care if he has those. You can switch his shoe game up. I need you to operate from the crust of the sauce.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get you a husband.
Yeah. I feel like I'm operating that way. There's a few things I need to work on for sure, but
I'm going to give you this list. Yeah. And when you go out on each date, you're going to look for examples of this, right? The treatment part and is this a good person? I want to give my viewers and audience 5 things that they could do for self-esteem, because as we're talking about this, I'm also really big on like, okay, I need people to take away nuggets. Like I need people to change their lives like tomorrow, ready, set, go. Yeah. So you mentioned compliments in your pizza. We need to be very mindful in order to raise our self-esteem of talking to ourselves with love, right? I'm guilty of this. I curse myself out. I'm my most critical person.
Yeah.
So I always have to like go back into, okay, every bad thing I say, I got to follow it up with something good because I just tore myself up. But that is one way to increase your self-esteem, is to speak to yourself like someone you love. Number 2, set and honor your boundaries. We just created yours.
Yeah.
If you don't honor those boundaries, guess what? You are going to be declared you don't love yourself.
Yeah.
I know it sounds crazy, and I know it's going to be hard because this is like the strict little list that you created.
Yeah.
It's going to eliminate a lot of people.
Yeah.
But we don't need a lot of people on the list. We just need one bomb one for you. So next one is celebrate your wins, which you said as your tip for self-esteem.
Yeah.
So good job, girl.
One.
Surround yourself with people who uplift you.
Yeah.
Do you have cheerleaders, like your friends, the people who are, you know, hooping and hollering for you?
Yeah.
Amazing.
My people.
And 5th one, what you actually put on your pizza, which is self-growth, investing in self. And so I'm like, oh, you actually have all the elements in your crust for like what you believe makes a good human, but also what will raise your self-esteem.
Yeah. Good.
So we can't date with any fools that go against it.
Yeah.
It's going to be misaligned.
I
And
need
these
to
are
be
really the
better
things
at
that you say.
Pushing them away.
Okay, I love having you on the show. I want everybody to tune in and be able to like follow like all of the things that you have to offer. I want to set you up. I'm like, if anyone wants to get with Angelique, let me know. She is a cutie patootie. She is smart.
Yes.
You're going to
I'm in law school.
You're in law school right now.
Yeah.
So what kind of law do you want to practice?
Something with families, family law. I want to work with kids who went through the same things I've gone through.
Yeah.
Right now I'm working for the public defender, so kids that are in the juvenile system. So not sure what yet, but something with kids and families, because it starts making sure these kids have the self-esteem that they need growing up.
Yes.
And I want to be that light for them.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
When do you have to decide by like what kind of law you want to practice? When does that come into play?
I still have 2 more years left.
Oh, okay.
So right now, public defender, I'll be working at the family court next fall, or coming up, I'll be there. So I kind of have a while to test the waters and see where I want to go.
See what you like the most.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it. Look,
Yeah.
you're doing big things. I'm like, this is incredible. I love that you were able to contribute. I love your light. I love that you are happy right now. Do you feel good? Like, do you feel like I learned a lot from the show and now I'm thriving? What's your sentiments about where you're at in life right now?
I feel like, I feel great coming off post show. I feel so good. I feel super happy. I feel confident with my dating abilities. There are definitely a couple things I could tweak, but I'm like very much trying to find a committed long-term relationship because that's what I want.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm proud of myself. I feel good post show.
Yes. Okay, let's get in. You know, you can call me too if you need dating advice.
I got your
I'm
number.
like, let me help you funnel through these men.
Like, tell me what you think about this man.
Yes, exactly. Hit me up and I will give you like all of that info. I'll
would
give you
love
the
that.
411. I'll be
I
like,
would
okay,
love
this is what we need to be doing, girl. Let everybody know where they can find you. If they want more of Angelique, if they want to, find you online or socials. I know something crazy happened with your social.
Yeah, so right now my Instagram has been taken down for reasons unknown, but if it comes back, it's Angelique_WX. I've made a temporary I've made a second account. Angelique R. Wilcox is my new account. Hopefully we'll get my old one back up. I'm on TikTok at Lawyer Bae, Lawyer Baeee. And yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn if you have a job for me. Angelique Wilcox.
Love or employment. She'll take them both.
Yeah, but that's where. And then if I'm not on social media, you can find me on Netflix. So
hey, yes,
that.
you guys got to watch the show. Sneaky Links on Netflix.
Yes.
You guys can play with my Twitter, stroke my IG at SpicyMadi. Go to thespicylife.com. Make sure that you click and subscribe. Share this episode with a friend. And there you have it. You have just been spiced.